So today we're going to be taking a look at the benefits and downsides of jailbreaking a PS4 in 2024. If you've not used your PS4 in a few months, it's quite possible that it could be jailbreakable. So we're going to be taking a look at how much things have improved with jailbreaking the PS4 over the past few years, what are the benefits and what are the downsides. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. You may have heard that to jailbreak the PS4, you need a PS4 on system software version 5.05 or 9.00. But that has recently changed with a new jailbreak that came out in May of this year that works up to System Software 11.0. So any PS4 that is on System Software 11.0 can be jailbroken by updating the console with a USB drive to that exact version and loading the jailbreak. This new jailbreak takes advantage of a vulnerability in the way that the console handles the PPPoE network protocol. All that's required is to run the exploit on a device that's connected to the PS4 via an Ethernet cable, then simply wait for it to jailbreak the PS4. To make this process even easier, there are all-in-one jailbreak kits that can be purchased on AliExpress for around $30. These kits come with everything you need to load the new jailbreak in a few simple steps. Simply connect the device to your PS4, plug in the USB drive, and set up your network settings to use PPPoE. Then you simply wait for the payload GoldHEN to be loaded. GoldHEN is the main jailbreak for the PS4 and comes with many awesome features like a built-in FTP server to remotely access the file system of your PS4 from another device. It's got in-game overlays displaying handy stats like FPS, CPU usage, RAM usage and more, and a full package installer allowing you to install additional applications from a USB drive, similar to sideloading apps on an Android device. One of these apps is the Homebrew Store, which can allow you to browse and install community-made PS4 apps like emulators, games, and utilities. Now, we cannot talk about jailbreaking without mentioning the elephant in the room. Of course, jailbreaking can open up the door to piracy, as the sideloading feature can be used to install full PS4 games, DLC content, and updates that can all be accessed without a license using what's known as a fake package. All games and apps for the PS4 come in an installable format known as package files, .pkg files. These files are encrypted and compressed and require a unique key to decrypt them at runtime. These packages cannot be loaded even when the console is jailbroken without the appropriate license on your account or game disk. So instead, any app or game that requires the jailbreak to run are installed as fake packages known as FPKG. These fake packages have been encrypted using a common key so that the jailbreak will be able to decrypt them and launch them at runtime. This makes it easy to download and install games, DLC and updates and run them on a jailbroken PS4. This doesn't just benefit the pirates, as it can also be great for game preservation. For example, you can take any disk-based PS4 game and dump the game files using a homebrew app called Items Flow. You can then repack those game files into a fake package that can then be installed and run on any jailbreakable PS4 without the original game disc. It can also be played in a future PS4 emulator for the PC in the not too distant future. Now, speaking of free games, today's sponsor is World of Warships Legends, a free-to-play naval combat game where you get to command iconic warships from history and battle it out in epic 9v9 matches. There's over 400 ships from 11 different nations to command, and they keep things fresh by updating the game every 5 weeks with new ships, missions and upgrades. Choose from destroyers for swift surprise attacks, cruisers for well-rounded combat, and battleships for devastating firepower. Plan your shots carefully and pick the right ships, weapons and upgrades to suit your playstyle and strategy. The game is available on PlayStation and Xbox platforms, and this summer World of Warships Legends is teaming up with Star Trek Universe to bring you some iconic additions from the Star Trek world. Up until the 4th of August, you can tour the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, recreated in stunning detail, and unlock up to 4 new Star Trek commanders, Picard, Spock, Gowron and Sayla, and unlock Star Trek ship skins, patches, flags, camos and more. During this event, new players will gain access to a starter pack to get you up and sailing in no time. This includes the American Tier 3 premium battleship Arkansas, German Tier 3 cruiser Karlsruhe, and 7 days of premium account access, 5 common crates, 10 red, white and blue camouflages, and 10 hunter camouflages. So don't miss out on these deals. Use my link in the description below and start sinking ships in World of Warships Legends today. Another great feature is the ability to gain more control over your gaming experience with cheats, patches and mods. One of the homebrew apps in the Homebrew Store is called the PS4 Cheats Manager. It will allow you to download all of the latest cheats, patches and plugins made by the community. When playing a PS4 game, you can hold down the share button on the controller and it will bring up any trainers that are supported for that title. You can switch between multiple trainers with R1 and R2 and toggle cheats like God mode, infinite ammo, max out your items, currency and more. Then just press circle to return back to the game with your cheats now enabled. You can also use PS4 Cheats Manager to apply specific patches to your games, like with Bloodborne on PS4 Pro, you can lower the resolution to 720p, unlock the frame rate, and with boost mode enabled, you can run Bloodborne at 60 FPS, and all it took was a few clicks. For other games, there are patches to lock and unlock the frame rate, fix frame pacing issues, skip intros, and enable hidden developer menus to uncover cut content, access developer tools, and explore outside of the map boundaries. Finally, we come to mods. There are full-on mod menus for popular games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5 that are very similar to the types of mod menus available for the PC version, allowing you to change models, spawn in vehicles, access flying cars, and much more. There are also mods that replace game files, allowing you to play as different characters in the Resident Evil franchise, and install full-on PC mods for Bethesda titles like Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Save editing is also possible, as there's a great homebrew app called Apollo that allows you to resign save files. You can import saves downloaded online, resign a save file from one profile to another, swap saves between different game versions, and extract the decrypted save data to edit the save files in a save editor to create your own modded save files. You can even activate your PS4 account with the same PSN account ID as another account that you use on a retail PS4 or PS5, so that any save files edited on your jailbroken PS4 can then be transferred and loaded on your retail consoles. Another huge benefit of jailbreaking your PS4 is going to be emulation. Sony developed their own software-based emulators that enabled them to release a limited selection of Sega Saturn, PS1, PSP, and PS2 games on the PS4. These official emulators have been dumped on jailbroken PS4s and repackaged with any Sega Saturn, PS1, PSP, and PS2 ISO to get them running on PS4. Not every title will work, and there are some tweaks that can be made to the emulator settings to improve compatibility with more problematic titles. That's not to underestimate the number of titles that are currently supported, of which there are a great many, and of course there are pre-made versions that have already been optimized and made available for download. These emulators include all the bells and whistles, like the ability to rewind the game, add scan lines, change the aspect ratio on the fly, and gain access to save states. Beyond Sony's official emulators, there's also an unofficial port of RetroArch by developer OsirisX. This is a full-blown RetroArch port that can run games going all the way back to the early 80s with the Commodore 64, the Atari, all the way through to the NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, N64, PS1 and PSP, just to name a few. Now, sticking with the theme of running games from other platforms, how about running GameCube, Wii, Wii U, and even PC games on the PS4? Well, this is made possible with the ability to boot the PS4 into a Linux distro. Linux can be set up on the PS4 in something akin to a dual boot setup, where you can switch between the PS4's Orbis OS operating system and a Linux distro of your choice. You can even choose how much RAM you want to allocate as video memory, so that you can target a specific game or emulator that might require more video memory or more system memory. You can run a full desktop Linux distribution with built-in driver support for PS4's APU, allowing you to run other emulators like CMU, a Wii U emulator, Dolphin, a GameCube and Wii emulator, and the latest official build of RetroArch, and many more. Not to mention the ability to run PC games on Linux. Over the past few years, with the launch of the Steam Deck, Valve have made significant progress in turning Linux into a viable platform for PC gaming. You can now take advantage of this on the PS4 to play most of your Steam library through Linux via Proton, a compatibility layer for Windows games on Linux. You can also use the website ProtonDB to find the best compatibility settings to get your games running as smoothly as possible. This can allow you to run games like Halo on a PS4 with the right settings enabled. There's also Lutris, a universal games launcher, to get non-Steam games running too. But Linux can be used for many other things, like hosting a media server, accessing a proper web browser for streaming services like Netflix and Spotify, and pretty much anything else you can do with a desktop PC. There's also a dedicated emulation distro, which can be used for those who just want to use Linux purely as an emulation station. Now let's get into the downsides. There are two big downsides to jailbreaking your PS4 over the years. One of them has mostly been resolved, and that's the issue of not being able to play the latest games, DLC and updates, as we need to stay on an older firmware like 11.0 to continue to access the jailbreak, and future PS4 game releases require the latest firmware to run them. So in the past, jailbroken PS4s couldn't run the latest games without updating and losing access to the jailbreak. Thankfully, this isn't really an issue anymore thanks to Cyber1000, aka CYB1K, who has access to the decryption keys necessary to decrypt games that require a higher firmware to run. He then backports these games to work on the older firmwares, and the fake packages are released so that people on jailbreakable firmwares can run all the latest games, DLC and updates. But the big elephant in the room is going to be PSN access, which has been unobtainable for those on a jailbroken PS4. You need to be on the latest firmware to play online via PSN, and since the jailbreak requires an older firmware, we simply cannot access it. Firmware spoofing does not solve this problem as it doesn't work the same way as it does with PS3. So what options do we have for online play? Well, the best option right now is to use a homebrew app called PSLAN. PSLAN connects your PS4 to a server that everyone else running the service will also be connected to. You can run any supported title that has a LAN play option that would normally allow you to find players that are limited to your local network. With PSLAN, the LAN play option will allow you to connect to anyone else who is hosting a game online via PSLAN. You can join the Discord server to find people to play with, or simply search for a LAN game to find people who are already hosting. The service currently supports all of the Call of Duty games that support LAN play, with more game support being continuously added. There's also a private Fortnite server called EasyFN that's available on PS4. EasyFN is a classic Fortnite server with cross-platform support. You simply sign up on the website and download the modified Fortnite package to log in and play online. The final option for online play is to boot Linux and play PC games online. Since it's Linux, you may run into issues with anti-cheat systems that don't play nice with Proton, but for games with less aggressive anti-cheat, it is possible to play them online. Another option that's a lot more difficult to pull off is the Revert mod. The Revert mod is a hardware mod that can allow you to update to the latest firmware to play online through PSN, then revert the firmware back down to a jailbreakable firmware so that you can access the jailbreak again. It's like having two consoles in one, and it's a similar concept to something like the Nintendo Switch's emulated NAND or EMU NAND, or the Xbox 360's dual NAND chips. However, it's not an easy process to install, but if you're handy with a soldering iron, it might be something to look into. So in my view, those are the main benefits and downsides to jailbreaking a PS4 in 2024. All of the footage shown in this video are from my own tutorials playlist that you can check out if you want to jailbreak your own PS4 and set up everything that's been mentioned in this video. I'll have that